So after the due date column, we have the days left. So days left only works once a due date has been entered or the job's been approved. It just gives you a countdown of how many days you have till the job needs to be out. So you can see 8 days. Well, it's counting actually today that it was approved, and so on. And you got 7. You got 5 days when the days are due to go out. The next column from there is the total time. The total time will show you how long a job has been worked on. This only counts when a designer clicks start, stop, and it's complete. If they're stopping and starting, you'll see all the information here. So at the moment, this was started and stopped within a 1-minute period. So it only took the designer 1 minute to process it and send out the proof. There will be other times where you see a few changes, and you can see here it was started and stopped by 2 different people. First slot time, Pabib started it. Then you can see that Bernie started it one time after that, and then the next time as well. So there was 2 proofs on one day and 1 proof on another day. So that gives you a rough estimate of time frame of what your designers are working at, and if they're pressing the right stop and start buttons. Now the next column is the image. The image is the thumbnail which we supplied to the client, and at the same time shows us what's been approved. Anything that's been approved to the system will show a thumbnail. If it hasn't been approved, it will not show a thumbnail. So this is the approved artwork and thumbnail, and if you want to look at it, you can click on it, open what the quantities are. If you click it again, it will show you a PDF. This is the PDF that has been sent from us to the client, and at the same time a PDF for the client to approve, and they get a copy of this PDF. So if you don't see a thumbnail, it means either it's not approved or it's a job that doesn't need a thumbnail, which I'll show you one here. So here's a job that's been only attachment service. So it didn't go through the art department because there's nothing to prove. So of course it'll have no thumbnail. So don't think it's not been processed, it just means it's a different kind of product that we were servicing the client. Now the final column, apart from the payment one down here, this will show you either if it's awaiting payment or it's paid. So usually no jobs get released unless it's been paid. Now the final column is the action column. The action column will house a few special buttons for you, the designer or sales team. So with these buttons, there's the first one on the left is rerun job. Rerun jobs, usually if the job had a mistake, will rerun the job, but what the system will do is it will make a new job order, job number, and link the old job to this new job number. The sales team will explain that more in detail. The next button is resend invoice. As the art team sometimes need to send the client an invoice again, you just click on this button and it will just say send to multiple, so you can add more clients if you want, email, and also CCs the accounts. The next one is print, so we'll just print the invoice. So this is the invoice, which we don't need to print, but just in case. Now the special button here is the department update. The system is pretty smart in some ways that at the moment we've only got a few modules that are switched on. The whole module system is not fully working at the moment for all the other departments. So mainly if you want to move a job back and forth to different departments, you'll click here. You will get a little, actually I gotta close this one. You click here and a little pop-up window should show. Not sure why it's not showing. It should show you the different departments. So once it pops up, you get this little screen here, and this is all the different departments. So mainly, automatically, once the job has been approved, it will move down to print. And when it's at print, it will say awaiting printing. Awaiting printing is when the pre-press guys organize what they have to do before they move it to either print digital, print offset, or print CMYK hub. That's for CMYK hub. Reason why we put CMYK is because actually these categories show up on a client front end dashboard, so they can see where the job is, and you don't want to tell them that it's gone somewhere else. Anyway, and then you've got all the other departments. So once, say, you finish the printing department, which is either print digital or print offset, the printers will move it to Autobond, die cutting, stripping and packing. As I said, the system only works from art at the moment to print automatically. The rest you have to move individually by this print module move department button, or click update department. Now the next button is a split job, which I don't use it, and only I think sales organize the split job. So you would split it for a certain reason, like it has to go different places. Or the next button is sharing job, which I don't even know what the sharing job is for. You have to ask sales; they'll tell you more detail. The next button here is add notes. The add notes will show up as a pencil on a rectangle, which means there's no notes in there. It's blank, and you can add one. Now, if there is a notes, it'll look like this one. So say view notes. Now, if you click on view notes, Angela has mentioned this matte lemonade. So if you click on the add notes, there's no notes. Add notes just the general notes for the job. Now the next column after that is dispatch special information. So if you have special dispatch or delivery things you need to tell for this job, for dispatching, they'll put this information here. It's only for internal, it doesn't go to the courier or anything. The second last button is the view art, add or slash view art brief. So you can see here there's an art brief. This will be shown as an inverted one, and this is one that has no notes for the art brief. So you can see this one has no normal notes, this one has no art notes, this one has a normal note in it, and this one has a normal art brief note. So yeah, don't get confused. Usually as a designer you just look off for these ones on the second left. And any job that has a attached file will be located in this download little icons, and it'll say view job image. So this is usually what the client has supplied for their print ready jobs. You can either download it or delete it. Just make sure you don't delete it by accident, otherwise you have to ask the client for it. Now as a designer you have mainly probably 3 different types of buttons. When you see a job that's new, here's a new job, I can either start it. Once I click start, it will highlight it to this and move to my queue or my job list, and that's where I'll process it and click complete. Once you complete it and upload your artwork file, it will look like this. Once you click complete, you'll get a pop-up screen, and this is the file upload window. The file upload window is mainly the proofing window where you proof your client. At the top it will show you how many options you want to send to your client. So you may have 10 options. What we mean by 10 options is, say a client had one design and you thought you can give them something better, you give them a second option, and so they either pick option 1 or option 2. You can write a reference note on it, or you can, which has no relevance, but it's a note that you can add to the proofing. I'll tell you more in detail this later, but as you can see, you'll either attach the image thumbnail and the PDF, and if you need to do the concerns, which I've shown you guys how to do that, or these are multiple emails, so you can add more email clients. Do remember you can't have a space, so just comma and then email and no space, or else any spaces in between this will not work. So that's mainly the 3 buttons for designing. Now once you proof a client, the buttons will go into a different view. So now you can see this client has been sent by me. Is that client the job? It's done by me, and it's got a little orange clock, which means at client. Now say I wanted to email a client the proof again because I don't think they receive it. There's a little @ sign. If you click that, it will say, you can see it says resend artwork. Once you click that, it'll pop up this screen, and this will show you what you just sent recently or whatever date you sent it. So this was sent on the 19th of the 5th. If I had any concerns, this is what I wrote. There was no concerns in the normal note, but there was just a normal generic one that we've added. Now this is where you can add another email to send them the same proof you sent before, which is proof 1, option 1. Now say for example I made a mistake and I want to quickly proof a client again. You have this option of this one, which is re-upload an artwork file. When you click this, it's the same as uploading a new file. This feature, re-uploading an artwork file, will give you the option to quickly proof from a proof 2, which means it will void proof 1, and you can quickly do the same, put all your concerns and email who you want. So this is to reproof a job which either client quickly talked to you on the phone and you just want to proof them again, or you made a mistake and you got to proof the client again without them knowing. You proof it again, but as I said, it will void out the previous proof. And the last button that you really need to know is this one, which is reproof an artwork. Now in situations you have a client that has approved the artwork and it's gone to a print queue. So this one, well, there is none now. It will say awaiting printing. Once it's in awaiting printing, like this one, this button, which is reproof artwork, will only work in a print queue. So anything that's printing digital, printing offset, printing CMYK will have this reproof button. Now what will happen is the client has already approved the artwork, and this is the approved artwork. By clicking the reproof artwork, it goes into a new reproofing stage, which means it will say, are you sure you want to revert the job to the art department, which we do if you want to reproof the client. And this will then, what happens is that this will then void the proof job, which is this one. This has been approved by the client. It will void it and add a new proof 2 to the list, and the reproofing sequence will start again for the client to approve it again for the second option or second design or whatever, just in case they. So that button's a really necessity button, which you'll probably use a bit sometimes, because you do get some clients that change their mind halfway once they've approved the artwork, and you just need a way to send them and get it in the system, or else the system will have the old proof which was approved and we have no way of putting in the new proof that's been approved. So that's a new button that you'll be using, and you just got to keep an eye on it. If you need to use it, it's there for you. Once it's actually moved out of the printing queue, which means you already printed it, which means the client would have to pay for a reprint. Once it's moved out of that into Autobahn, there's no way to reproof it. So just remember that, unless you move it back to the print queue. Okay, so that's now a full rundown of the job list. There is more that I'll show you, and the more detail will be um, in the next video, how to search by department or status, and I'll show you more about the drop down. So in the next video, just check it out. Thank you for watching.